We began our exploration northward toward the beautiful Galilee. Before touring Lower Galilee, we stopped off at Antipatris, named after King Herod's father. With a plentiful supply of water from the Yarkon River and on the road to Jerusalem, Antipatris, or Tel Aphek, was very strategic. The Israelites actually lost the Ark of the Covenant to the Philistines here. Within this Muslim fortress is an Egyptian fortified palace. The Lord's Apostle Paul passed through Antipatris as a prisoner on the way to Caesarea.
Along the Mediterranean coast, we came to Apollonia, an impressive Crusader seaport city. Eventually conquered by the Muslims and never rebuilt, the main fortress once looked like this large model. A little further up the coast is Caesarea Maritima, here with the Crusader fortifications. But Caesarea was another of Herod's massive building projects to honor the Roman emperors. The harbor sheltered ships from the whole Mediterranean. Of course, Caesarea was fought over and controlled by all the usual suspects. This reconstructed theater hints at the glory that was Caesarea.
Driving inland, we reached Tel Megiddo, often called Har Megiddo, or Place of Armageddon. A tel is a large mound or hill that actually contains ruins of multiple cities or cultures built one on top of another. Megiddo has 26 such levels of habitation. The Jezreel Valley stretches out wide in front of Megiddo. Many battles have taken place here, and perhaps one day armies may gather again for the final battle. From the ridge of Nazareth, the Lord may have looked out over the same valley toward Megiddo and pondered the end of the world. This place also has a deep tunnel to the water system.
Next, we jump over to the Crusader Belvior Castle overlooking the Jordan Valley. This impressive mountain fort was a major obstacle to the Muslims and was never conquered by them, but was eventually surrendered because of isolation. There were about 20 such Crusader fortresses dispersed throughout the land of Israel. Each provided all the comforts of home, but still in an often very hostile environment. The Lord himself would have passed by this often, fought over location in this lush Jordan Valley.
The Lord would have also passed by Beit Shean, one of the 10 royal cities of the region known as the Decapolis. This was a large Roman city with a history going back to Canaanite times, and controlled by Egyptians, Israelites, Romans, the Byzantines, and the Muslims. An earthquake brought complete destruction to the city, and the glory days were never recovered. On top of the giant Tel is an Egyptian palace and administrative complex. The Roman and Byzantine city looked something like this. Here are the ruins of the amphitheater.
Nearby is the Beit Alpha Synagogue with the look of a Byzantine-era church. This synagogue is famous for the highly preserved floor mosaic. The three panels depict twin menorahs and the Torah cabinet guarded by lions, the zodiac with the sun god in the center, and the binding of Isaac. This inscription immortalizes the Father and the Son artists. The synagogue is located in an arm of the Jezreel Valley.
Mount Tabor, traditional site of the Lord's Transfiguration. The mountain rises over 1,300 feet above the valley. The top is reached by a winding 3-mile road. The magnificent church depicts that unique event beautifully. Of course, this mountaintop is a place of worldwide pilgrimages. The views of the Arab town of Daburia and the Jezreel Valley are breathtaking. But the views from the many mountains of Israel are all marvelous. This is the traditional Mount Precipice, where the people intended to throw the Lord off the cliff. Here is a hazy view toward Har Megiddo, or the Mount of Megiddo.
Nearby is the village of Nain, with a small Crusader church commemorating where the Lord raised the widow's son. The church was locked and had no caretaker around. Yet the paintings inside depict that monumental event. Near here, the prophet Elijah raised another woman's son. And when the Lord did the same, it was understood that God was visiting his people. But now the only religious activity is in a mosque standing right across from the deserted church.
Next we visited Nazareth Village, a reconstruction and reenactment put on by the YMCA organization of Nazareth. This is how an actual first-century synagogue looked, and without the sun god and zodiac on the floor. Yet, the people of Nazareth heard the Lord read from the scroll of Isaiah and rejected his teaching. Unable to do mighty miracles in Nazareth, the Lord went to a wedding in Cana and changed 100 gallons of water into wine for his mother, for the wedding guests, and for his disciples' sake. This caused him to look forward to the great wedding feast in heaven, but only after ransoming his bride.
Just to the west is Zippori, another place controlled by all the various conquerors of Israel. Zippori means little bird in Hebrew. The floor mosaics, and especially the Mona Lisa of Galilee, show off the opulence of the place. There is speculation that the Lord, as a carpenter stoneworker, may have worked at Zippori. Another synagogue with the zodiac floor was uncovered here. One thing these types of synagogues reveal seems to be they had religious freedom during the Byzantine period. The Crusader Tower dominates the countryside. Too bad the Crusaders didn't follow the advice to stay in Zippori during a Muslim invasion.
They boldly marched out in the extremes of July and got trapped at the horns of Hittin. The Lord warned about taking up the sword and eventually perishing by the sword. The desperate and thirsty Crusaders could see the life-giving waters of the Sea of Galilee, but were fated never to reach them. Their defeat began their eventual expulsion from this land, the Lord's land.